All right, hello, and thanks for hanging with us today on this episode of Between Two Batcaves. We are your hosts. I am Austin Luke, and he is Jordan Brownstein. And today we are reviewing the premiere episode of the new DCU HBO Max premiere prestige show, Lanterns. We're reviewing Lanterns.
HBO, just straight up HBO Prestige.
HBO Prestige, yeah.
Official branding.
But I mean, still, the first DCU, I think the first DCU show underneath that like title of HBO Prestige.
Absolutely, yeah.
Peacemaker didn't have like the HBO Prestige behind it. So I'm getting way too into the weeds.
I was gonna say we're gonna get into
early.
all of this,
guys. I literally I've been on 10 hours of travel today.
Let's just acknowledge that this man woke up in another country and got back to his Batcave via wheels
about an hour ago.
Yeah.
And here I am because I watched Lanterns while in travel today. Not the best viewing opportunity, but it worked. So we are here to talk about it. Before we get into all the nitty gritty behind Lanterns, y'all know we have a few things we have to do off the bat here today. If you like what we're doing over here on Between Two Batcaves, you got to let us know. A few ways you can do so. First, you can follow the pod on the podcast platform of your choice. Next, you can leave a 5-star rating and review on that platform. And lastly, you can share the show with a friend. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest from Jordan and I outside of the main podcast feed, you can follow us on any of our socials. We are everywhere you can find us at Between Two Batcaves with the number 2, except for Twitter, where we are at B2Batcaves with the number 2. If for some reason we're on a social outlet that you cannot find us on, that you really want us on, let us know. I think I've covered all of our bases, but if I'm missing something big, let me know. Can you think of anything we're missing?
None that we want to be a part of.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe if Vine makes a comeback, like we'll be slacking on Vine. But dude, side story about Vine, real quick. Sorry, I'm derailing this podcast all night long, man.
This is why we do the podcast.
So we, as I mentioned, been traveling. My family and I just went to Canada. We were in Ontario for about 5 days. Super fun. One of the days that we were in Ontario, we went up to this like little like outlet mall thing that was across the street from a hotel because we needed to find some activities like coloring books, things like that for Lucy to do while we were out at dinners and such. Did not come prepared with all that stuff. So
got to come with the games.
And I did not. So we took her to a toy store and let her pick out, we got some coloring books, some balls. Got a sick Spidey and His Amazing Friends.
I was going to say.
Set. I sent you a picture of that mask.
Yep.
But while we were in that toy store, I heard, I was over looking at Funko Pops, as I do, and I heard a group of younger, probably about like 12 to 13-year-old kids, like over at the Funko Pops too. And one of them like picked something up and they made like a reference to something about Vine. And another one of the kids asked her and they were like, "What's that?" And she was like, "I don't really know, honestly." It was like before TikTok or something like that. But like I just heard about it on TikTok and I heard them say that and I was like, "Ooh, ouch." Like,
wow, what a moment to just glimpse into there. That is.
Dude, it was like I was witnessing the youth in their environment and hearing them like not talk badly, but just like
it wasn't. Yeah, there's nothing malicious there, but it's just it
felt
reminder.
Targeted. It felt targeted. Yeah. They were like, "I don't know what this old dinosaur app is, dude. I just heard about it on TikTok," and I was like, "Ooh, man, that's rough. That's rough." But there's really no further point to that story. I just need to let you know about that.
All that to say, we will be on Vine if Vine is revived.
Correct. And lastly, if you are watching Between Two Batcaves on either YouTube or Spotify, first of all, thank you so much. Jordan, we got to take a second here. We got to take a second here.
Yes, we do.
Tell them why we got to take a second here.
We got to take a second to thank you guys because we are celebrating 100 subscribers on YouTube. We hit our goal, and there's going to be a lot of fanfare coming now. I just know it is.
I'm going to find something.
Seriously, thank you guys so much. So cool. I think when did we issue the challenge? It was about a month or so ago, mate, like almost to the
About a
date.
month. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we hit the goal, which means that there is one lucky subscriber out there who is going to be receiving some. Do you have one handy? Some Between Two Batcaves
Ooh,
merch.
no, it's still in my suitcase.
Hold on.
While Jordan does this, guys, I'm going to filibuster here. So, more about my vacation. Let's see. If anybody's ever been up to Ontario, if we have any listeners in Ontario, I don't know, we might have Canadian listeners. I should check the stats on that. But y'all have beautiful country. If we have any Ontarian, Canadian listeners, very much enjoyed visiting your neck of the woods. And I will stop filibustering now.
All that to say, one lucky subscriber will be receiving the very third peach. Hold on. That was a tough one. One lucky subscriber will be receiving our very third piece of merch. Austin and I each have one of these awesome Between Two Batcaves hats that our wives got for us as gifts. And we are paying it forward. And to one of you 100 subscribers, go back to one of our, what are we saying? One of our most recent videos in the past couple weeks.
Starting at our House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 6
Okay.
video. Any video since then, go leave a comment, make sure you're subscribed, and you are entered to win that giveaway. Which I feel like we're not prepared to like announce that this episode, but come next week, I think we'll be ready.
Yep. So you got about a week or so to get in there. Go subscribe if you haven't already. We're not cut off. Anybody who goes and subscribes and comments on a video, you're in. So thank you guys. Super cool.
Yeah,
dude.
seriously. This is super cool. I say you issued the challenge when we had 75 subscribers.
Yeah. I think that was
so, dude, I mean,
early July.
25 subscribers in a month. I mean, that's for people like us. I mean, that's awesome. It's really, really cool that we have grown like that since then. So, guys, thank you for hearing our call and helping us grow. Hopefully, we continue to do so, and we will announce next week how we're doing the giveaway. So, thank you, guys. Let's see. I think that is everything I have got here. Jordan, I'm going to hand it over to you to talk about today, next week, whatever else you think we might need to talk about in what's to come or what has been. We've been busy.
What has been, what is, and what is to come. First, what's our episode number today? We at 71, I think.
Ooh, good call. I forgot about that. Yeah, today's 71. What you got?
71. It's too easy. Shout out Ravens rookie Venga Ioane. Absolute beast. Had the first Ravens preseason game against the Eagles the other night. Dominated them. Venga got some really solid snaps in at right guard where he is going to be starting this year as a rookie. And dude is just built like a tree. So very excited to have a strong interior offensive line back in Baltimore. Shout out Venga Ioane. That being said, we're not talking Ravens on this podcast. We are talking everything from comics to the screen and all the IP in between. And that has covered a lot recently. Had some really fun episodes in the past few weeks. Go check out our Spider-Man Brand New Day episode if you have not had a chance to yet, because I know you've seen Spider-Man. Everybody has at this point. If you haven't, go see Spider-Man and then go check out our episode. We just earlier in the week had a super fun episode. Did a little DC TV crossover draft with the Sons of Gun podcast. Jalen and Matt over there. I think Jalen dominated us in the draft. I think.
So I was going to ask you when we wanted to make the cutoff for
we're not there yet.
That draft.
Just reading the tea leaves, he's got a strong lead. So unless the votes are coming in overnight, I don't know. I think we're going to be coming in behind there. But I mean, for a podcast named after Batman, we should have known that Batman sells. Jalen had Penguin, Batman series, Batman the animated series. He had the Absolute Batman TV series. He had a lot of Batman in there, and
he had a lot of Batman.
It makes a lot of sense. But go check that out. We got together with those guys just kind of in anticipation for what we are talking about today, which is the premiere of Lanterns. And we're going to be getting into that today, diving into the episode and doing that for the next, I think, 8 weeks, 7 or 8 weeks. I think that's what we got going on the pod over here. We're going to be talking Lanterns weekly, and super excited to get
It's
into it
DC mode over
because,
here, dude.
dude, spoiler alert, I freaking love this episode of TV. So I I really want to get into it, but there is one thing that we have to do first, and that's talk about Marvel.
We do. We actually we have to talk about Disney as a whole
Mm-hmm.
because we've got a very targeted Oracle report today. So let's fire up the Oracle report here.
Let's do it.
We are talking about D23. For those who don't know, D23 is basically Disney's version of Comic-Con. It's like their in-house event where they have fans, stakeholders, all of that. They come in and they basically put on a weekend-long event of announcing what they have coming up. Projects that are in the works, projects that get announced, new seasons, trailers, all that stuff. It's super fun for people like us who are super wrapped up in the behind the scenes action of all this stuff. And Jordan, this was quite the eventful D23. We kind of got what we expected. And I don't know about you, but I was feeling good. I was feeling good about what we got.
I was just waiting for Marvel all day because that thing went for like 12 hours, and I think Marvel got in there like in the 11th hour. So I'm honestly turning to you for a lot of the non-Marvel news.
Okay, so you want me to start off, listen off a couple things, and then you finish up with Marvel?
Let's do that. But
Okay.
before, like, just quick primer, got some really cool Marvel news. We're talking Avengers trailer. We're talking X-Men news. Got a Vision Quest trailer. So we're going to get into all that. But I want to hear first what stood out to you outside of the MC.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously, listeners know I have a toddler at home. And so, as you can imagine, Disney Plus is on all day long in my house. I just had
You are the target audience for this thing.
I am. I just had a 10-hour trip back home, and Spidey and His Amazing Friends was on for about 8.5 of those hours.
All things considered,
I'm doing a great job as a parent.
Yeah, incredible work.
But there are some announcements at D23, which excited me as a parent and as a lover of pretty much, most things Disney. First of all, we got some concept art for Incredibles 3, which we know has been in the works for a while now. Brad Bird is coming back to helm Incredibles 3. We got a little bit of concept art, nothing really groundbreaking here. But again, I just recently showed Lucy The Incredibles, and she's starting to get into that. So
Jack
I've had, oh yeah, I've had Brad Bird in the house recently. Love that movie. Michael Giacchino score behind that too. So looking forward to having that back with some new stuff soon.
A lot of people say The Incredibles is the best Fantastic Four movie, and they might be onto something.
Might be onto something. Let's see. What else did I have here? Let me just go through this. There's a bunch of stuff. We're not going to cover it all. I did want to talk about, though, Coco 2. Coco 2 got announced. Dude, I freaking love Coco.
I haven't seen it in a very long time, but that is one.
Might I recommend the next time you and Maddie have a night to yourselves, you're not exactly sure what to do, you want to get in like the right headspace and watch a movie that's going to make you think, dude, put on Coco.
The only reason I'm laughing is because immediately before we started recording tonight, we started a new show. Very different vibe from Coco. We started watching Lioness on Paramount Plus, which is the Zoe Saldana show in the Sheridan verse, where she's playing like a rough around the edges CIA operative. So slightly different vibes from Coco, but we'll have that in our back pocket for when we've had enough Lioness.
Dude, it's I love that movie. Also, side note here, at Disney World in Epcot, the Coco section of Mexico in Epcot is by far my favorite part of Disney World. It's so cool.
But is it just the immersion of it? They just do a good job with it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like this little like underground bazaar.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's so cool. But yeah, main character Miguel has aged up a little bit in this movie. Looks like it's gonna be great. I'm sure it'll have great music, as the first one did. Next announcement I have here. Dude, I don't think I can describe to you fully how much of a hot topic what I'm about to bring up to you is, because this is an issue pretty much exclusive to me in our relationship that we have. The Bluey movie has been announced.
I I saw they're doing it in 3D animation. How do we
They're
feel?
doing it in 3D
How do we
animation,
feel?
and let me tell you, buddy, they
You
plucked a
see,
cord with some parents. They plucked a cord, man.
I feel like
It
that's
is
something.
hot debate.
I feel like a Bluey movie is probably where it's okay to say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Where it's okay not to reinvent the wheel.
Here's the thing. Okay, I'm siding with. I don't really care. I mean, it is. Listen, if this is what they want to do, sure.
Hey, it's bad
Do I think
podcasting, man. You have to take a side on one of
if
the extremes. I don't
okay,
care which.
if I were to take a side, keep it 2D. Keep it as the animation style that it is. However, it's interesting because my kid, she doesn't watch Bluey. She loves Bluey. She's obsessed with Bluey as a character in the things that she buy. Like she loves Bluey toys, she loves Bluey water bottles, she loves Bluey
Show
everything.
couldn't care less.
Yeah, if it's a show, she wants Spidey and his amazing friends. Doesn't watch Bluey, but loves Bluey. So
She's like watching
this,
Spidey and she's like, where's my Bluey blanket?
you're that's super accurate. Like that is dead on what happens.
It's like she's taunting him.
So yeah, Bluey movie controversy. I'm siding with keep it 2D, but also I'll probably go see this. Let's see. I'm gonna skip that. Skip a couple live action things. I assume you're
There's
gonna
some
talk
Star
about.
Wars
Are you gonna?
stuff.
I'll let you take that.
No, do you want to take the lead on the Star Wars stuff?
I didn't even see the panel or the announcement or anything. I don't know what happened.
You got the headlines? I know what happened. We'll talk about it.
Okay, we'll do it before Marvel.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to cover here. Actually, sorry, last two. Frozen 3 announced, big news in my household. Got to have another song to sing besides Let It Go. I'm also a big fan of Into the Unknown for fellow parents out there, but Let It Go is the classic. Maybe Frozen 3 has what it takes to top it. We'll see. And last but not least, Zootopia 3, or as my kid calls it, the Bunny movie. Dude, I mean, you know this. We're a Zootopia household. So
Zootopia is fantastic.
It's fantastic. Zootopia 2 is awesome. The introduction of reptiles. In Zootopia 3, the logo for it, the 3 is made out of feathers, so we're assumingly getting birds.
Maybe dinosaurs.
Yo.
I don't know. I don't want to set myself up for disappointment there.
So
the odds they're going with like anatomically correct dinosaurs.
Let's do both of ourselves a favor and make sure we don't tell my kid about that, because if this movie doesn't have dinosaurs in it, we're both in trouble.
Edit this out for our sake.
But let's see. That's it. That is my parenting section of the Oracle Report today. If we have fellow parents that listen, I'm sure y'all are just as excited as I am for all of these announcements for the next coming years of movies and shows with your kids.
And for the still childless of you out there, like me, I'm sure that if you have friends in your lives with young children and you are with them when one of these movies come out, you will happily go see it with them and you'll have a great time, as I would. So if I'm with you, let's go. Otherwise, let me know how it is.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk Star Wars. So there were a couple big ticket items there on the live action side, right? They had like the Ahsoka season 2 trailer and like the release date announcement is coming out in January. It's not a binge drop, I don't think. Like, I think they're doing it weekly, so not like a huge dump it and forget about it, which like a January release date kind of suggests. Like, you think about like something like Echo that got that treatment, Wonder Man, which fought through it, but they're doing it weekly, so they still think it might have some staying power. Did you happen to see the Ahsoka season 2 trailer that dropped?
I did not. I've kind of avoided it. Not for like, I don't want to see any footage about this, but I don't really know if I care. Not that I'm not looking forward to season 2 of Ahsoka. I definitely am. I thought season 1 was good, but I saw that the trailer came out and I thought like not any part of me thought to myself, I need to go find this and watch this right now. I think I'm content not really knowing going into the season. Now, that might change in a few days. I might find myself being like, let me watch the trailer. But for the time being, I'm just like, whatever happens, happens.
I did end up watching this trailer. I did not seek it out, but it did just kind of, it was like, here it is in the algorithm. So I gave it a watch and visually it looks, I think, pretty good. Anakin is back. That's cool. Aside from that, I don't really know what's going on. So You probably didn't miss too much. But like you said, I'll be there in January. I'm gonna check this out because I like season one, and kind of want to see where this thing goes because it seems like season one of Ahsoka was made in a completely different era of
Mm-hmm.
Disney,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, Disney Plus, just TV in general.
Totally.
So see how they adapted to that. Something that is geared toward this latest kind of generation in Star Wars is the Star Wars Starfighter movie coming out next year. They had a little panel for it. I think they showed some footage. Wasn't released publicly, but Ryan Gosling was there. Sean Levy was there. What was released to the public was the sick jacket that Ryan Gosling's character is going to be wearing in the movie. Did you see this?
I did.
It has like the design on the back and painted on kind of design like that with like the upside down symbol of the rebellion with like what looks like crossbones behind it, so it looks like a skull, which is just like inspired visual design from those folks over there at Lucasfilm. Ryan Gosling I think it was probably in his contract that they had to come up with a sick jacket for his character to wear.
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah. Listen, dude's now Starfighter, Ghost Rider. I mean, dude is going to be the sick jacket character.
He already is.
I mean,
like he even going back, like Drive, he wore a sick jacket. He wore a sick jacket in Fall Guy.
Dude, I mean, you got to I guarantee he wears a sick jacket.
Blade
in
Runner.
Barbie.
Blade Runner he had like the trench coat.
Oh,
sick
yeah,
jacket.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, no, he had a red leather jacket in Barbie. Sick jacket.
And Project Hail Mary, he had some sick jackets in there too.
It was more of a hoodie vibe.
He was more sweater.
Yeah.
Outerwear.
But
okay. Anyway,
similar.
sick jacket. And
sick jacket.
Star Wars Starfighter. Seems like the footage was pretty cool. I'm excited for this movie.
Agreed. You will not hear anything otherwise from me. But that's our Star Wars news, right? Which brings us into the main course.
Yes. All right. Marvel got their, like, it was probably like a 10-minute segment of what was literally like a 6-hour presentation that they had over at D23. And it was at like 11 o'clock at night Eastern time. So waiting all day for this. They get up there. First thing they do is they have the first trailer drop for Vision Quest, which also happened to release to the public. Did you get a chance to watch the Vision Quest trailer?
I did.
Dude, this looks really good.
Dude.
It looks like just obviously they're marketing as the cap to the WandaVision Agatha trilogy. But I would be thinking that even without that intentional marketing push just based off of how this trailer made me feel, how it is really just like this interpersonal struggle that Vision is going through, that White Vision is like faced with this internal crisis about who he is. The continuation of that Ship of Theseus conversation from WandaVision that was just like felt like a revelation at the time watching that in Marvel Project. But then there's also he has like all of the different AI constructs in his mind of like the different AI entities that we've seen throughout the different Marvel movies. So Friday's there, Dummy's there, Ultron is there, and we get James Spader, who is like the 1B seemingly to Paul Bettany's 1A in this show. And they're doing like this father-son dynamic between Ultron and Vision while also wrapping it into now Tommy, right? Tommy, his Vision and Wanda's son, seeking Vision out as part of like the other pull of the story. So really cool trailer. Very excited for this show.
Dude, yeah. It is absolutely crazy to me that we're sitting here in 2026 talking about Ultron being in a Vision show. It's so freaking cool. But yeah, man, I think that when you talk about Disney Plus projects, the WandaVision stuff has always kind of been held in like an upper echelon outside of like can't fully say it because I mean Loki obviously we're big fans of. Wonder Man, a phenomenal show, really stepped outside the bounds of what people thought it was going to be. But the WandaVision stuff just feels so classic Marvel, and
it is just of a time. And I feel like that show more than any other broke out of the Marvel containment.
It did, and this is going to I feel like this truly feels like they're setting it up to be the end of what we know. I
They're
mean,
like marketing as the final entry into the WandaVision trilogy.
and I think that means more than just that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's the old era, this kind of in tandem with the falling or the ending of the multiverse saga, moving into the mutant saga. It's the MCU that we knew, that we loved, is done. It's over, and we are moving into newer things, newer territories, newer characters, and that means saying goodbye to characters that we've known and loved for a long time. And I think this show is going to make us laugh. It's going to make us cry. It's going to make us feel nostalgic, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. I have high hopes for this.
You think Vision is going to be in Secret Wars?
Yes.
Yeah, they'll find somewhere for him.
Yes.
All right, one more trailer to talk about here before we get into the X-Men casting announcements. Little project called Avengers Doomsday.
Well, actually, this could be relevant for that too, possibly. But because I don't know if you saw the Hugh Jackman post that him and Ryan Reynolds did.
Yeah.
Where
they had their video appearance.
Yep.
At D23. That was like, I think, a tongue-in-cheek confirmation that they're going to be in the movie.
Yeah. Till you're 90. Sorry, go ahead.
Doomsday, second trailer. This was the Comic-Con trailer that I saw a leaked version of on Twitter and tried to send to you, but I don't think you had a chance to watch it before it got taken down.
Yeah.
So I want to turn it over to you first. What were your thoughts of this Doomsday trailer?
Dude, holy cow. They should have started with this. I mean, I was a fan of the original I like the original trailer, but they should have started with this. This is freaking awesome. Holy cow. The way that they are setting this up as it's a lived-in Doom. This has been a Doom that he's been dooming for a while. He has found himself in like lost in a dark place and resorting to dark measures to, it seems like, bring back what he once knew and loved. Or I don't know. They
get
don't
revenge
like lead too
for
much.
it. Yeah.
Get revenge for it.
For losing it.
It's leading me to like feel very similarly to like the version of Doom that we see in the Hickman run with God Emperor Doom, and I think that that's pretty intentional. I think that that might be kind of the angle that they take inspiration from moving into Secret Wars and Doomsday and Secret Wars. But dude, it's just the visuals of Doom, the visuals that we get of Latveria and like his throne room are incredible. I am reaching pretty dang like my excitement level for this movie is getting through the roof. I think this is going to be incredible, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like this was the trailer that you lead with because it gives us the, like you said,
It gives us Doom.
A little bit of Doom. Gives us a little bit of Doom to sink our teeth into.
The movie is named after him.
Exactly. It gives us Doom through like his traditionally the characters that have the richest history with him in the comics, being the Fantastic Four. We get the dialogue from Sue and the conversation between Reed and Victor, which honestly, like that brief 3 to 4 second clip of Pedro and RDJ together there, I think that was the best I've ever felt about Pedro as Reed.
Yeah.
What is also really interesting to me about that dynamic is it seems like Doom and the Fantastic Four were not enemies at the least, and like at the most they might have been allies before
they
whatever
did not
happened.
seem adversarial.
I think what Sue says is like that he used to be kind and caring before he lost everything. It looks like he's going to be losing like his wife and a kid or something, or like losing something that he cares about more than anything else, and that sets him on this path.
Yeah,
which that is not the traditional characterization of Doom in the comics.
No.
Doom in the comics and like in other iterations has always been Doom. Like he's always been Victor Von Doom. He's always been on this path, and like he gets his mask and like his armor because of the disfigurement that he suffers at his own hands, like trying to one up Reed when they were in college.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So it isn't like, it is interesting to me that that is like what they're like, the first thing they're telling us about Doom is that he was altruistic until this like great injustice happened to him,
Hmm.
which pairs a lot with like obviously like casting RDJ in this role. Like this very much, as Infinity War was a Thanos movie, this is going to be a Doom movie. I hope like there is, he does still need to be a villain though. Like
He does. He does.
we're going to be getting this story about Doom going to extreme measures to protect what he cares about, going so far as to like destroy other Earths to prevent his
Hmm.
Earth from dying in an incursion, things like that. If it is just that he's willing to do that and that he's feeling vindictive because he lost something that he cared about and it was the Avengers' fault, I don't know if that's going far enough with Doom as a villain. Like I think there does still need to be that history with the Fantastic Four, or just more generally, some indication that he was always willing to go to these lengths and do terrible things for what he think was justified purposes. But even
Hmm.
before whatever this inciting thing that happened seemingly recently, whatever that was. Yeah, does that make sense? That's like my
It
one
does.
reservation. Aside from the fact, like not to mention that, like I agree, this like he looks so good in this trailer. The moment between him and Thor, which is extended here. We get the dialogue from RDJ, the resurrection of the Sentinels. Like Doom is
Dude.
looking and sounding and moving exactly as he should.
Yep.
I do have like a couple questions about the characterization of him in this trailer.
That's totally valid. I think a, a major concern that a lot of MCU fans have had since the announcement of Doom is just like, how are we going to make this villain very quickly uh, a threat that we can feel as imposed as we were with Thanos? And I think that you're right. It's with Doom. It's all about his mannerisms. It's about the way, like you said, the way that he moves, the way that he talks, the way his presence. Doom is a presence character, and I think that they're nailing that aspect so far from what we've seen. So that gives me a lot of hope that we will get basically our first introduction to this character in his movie, and I think feel pretty immediately like this is the force that we thought that we need to end the multiverse saga. Dude, I mean, shoot, as we sit here in August, what, we have about 4 months left till this movie.
Dude, like
Can't come
almost
fast enough.
exactly. Yeah.
Can't come fast enough.
And we got, dude, like a month from now, we got Endgame Encore in
Which we will
theaters,
be seated
which
for.
we absolutely will be seated for. So Avengers train is rolling on. A lot more to talk about that in the weeks to come. But big ticket item. This is what people came for. This is what I was waiting for all day during D23. We got some X-Men announcements. We got on stage at D23, Sadie Sink was there, who we obviously know as Jean Grey. We got Samara Weaving, who was previously announced to be cast as Emma Frost. Kit Connor was there. He is playing Cyclops. We got some new announcements too. Let's start with the
We did.
biggest one up top. We got the fan cast, the rumored casting that we have been talking about for a few weeks now. Adam Driver is going to be in this X-Men movie, not as Magneto, but as
Mr. Sinister, dude, that's so
Dude.
cool.
This, I think this is fantastic casting for a character who I admittedly don't know much about from the comics, but from his characterization in X-Men 97 and from
Oh,
what
for
I do
sure.
know about him in the comics, like this very arch villain who's like kind of cares about appearances a lot, but is
Yeah.
also like willing to go to like these horribly dark lengths. I think Adam Driver can rise to those like really high levels that a Mr. Sinister level character requires, and it's cool to finally have him in the MCU.
It really is, man. I actually I saw a thread going on on a House of R video about this, and some people just saying that like they weren't sure if like Adam Driver had, they described it as like the flamboyancy that Mr. Sinister brings.
He
And
definitely does, dude.
I think he does,
Definitely
dude.
Have you ever seen any of his SNL skits? Dude, he
Yes,
is
man.
so funny.
he can get so wacky and so
Mhm.
crazy with it, and I think he has what it takes to pull off this over the top character, and I love that we're getting this villain for the beginning of the mutant saga because it's a villain that we have never seen in live action adaptations of the X-Men.
Mhm.
So he's much more of like a comic booky villain, if you will, than what
With a
we've
name
gotten in
like Mr.
traditional.
Sinister,
Yeah,
like that,
exactly.
like
Like
we're getting into the
we're
comic
getting
booky
into
of
it.
it.
And I think that's awesome.
Yep.
So love that we got Adam Driver attached to a project. I love that they didn't go with the, in our opinion, the obvious choice of Magneto. They're choosing a different character that we've never gotten before. Very excited to see where this goes.
Would you be okay if we don't have Magneto in this first X-Men movie?
Yes, I think I would.
I think there's a path for that to be the right choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could be appropriate.
That would leave a pretty big gap in just like when you're talking about what is the theme of this movie, what are the ideas that we're grappling with, like the Professor X Magneto
Right,
clash is
right.
always so central. You just have to fill it with something else. And there's so much that you can do with a character like Mr.
Yeah.
Sinister. You can also do that with, like we mentioned, Professor X, who we had announced to be playing him, Christopher Abbott, who is a name that I was admittedly not familiar with before seeing him attached to playing Professor
It's
X. He
kind of a theme here with some of these
Yeah,
castings.
and we're going to talk about it, but I think so. He was in the TV show Girls, which Adam Driver also was on Girls, a little reunion there,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
like I think is a big Broadway performer. I think he has like a
Yes.
big presence in the theater scene, which again another trend that
Another
we're going
common
to talk
theme.
about.
Yeah.
Because let's talk about him kind of in a group here because we got our Storm announced, Maya Boyd, another another actress
Theater
who
actor. Yeah.
theater actor, yeah, killing it on Broadway right now and has never been in a movie before.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about them together, but the caveat with Maya Boyd is that we do know, or I think we know, that Ryan Coogler was at least heavily involved in the casting here, or might have just been the one to make the decision
I
because
heard that
Storm
as
is
well.
going to
Yeah.
be in Black Panther 3.
Yeah.
Fact check me on
Which,
that. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But
no,
this just
I do think that
really,
that's right.
this just like rings exactly like Miles Caton in Sinners, another complete unknown who
Hmm.
had a background in music and just like blew everybody away with Sinners. So Maya Boyd has the Ryan Coogler stamp of approval for me beyond just like her credentials aside from that.
100%. Yeah. I love this whole I love the trend of like getting relatively unknowns in the X-Men project. It feels really reminiscent of the beginning of the MCU. I mean, obviously, you had your heavy hitter with RDJ, but at the time, Chris Evans, pretty unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Hemsworth, pretty. I mean, you got to think these big names back
All the
when the
Chris's.
MCU was
Yeah.
starting. I mean, they were relatively unknown. I mean, Chris Pratt pulled right from Parks and Rec. I mean, these were low known names, and it feels similar now to like what was happening then. And I think that that's very encouraging. I'm with you. I love the fact that we're getting her in Black Panther 3 as well. For comic book knowers, that's freaking awesome that we're going to get Storm in a Black Panther movie. That's got a lot of potential there. But yeah, man, I'm unfamiliar with either of these actors, to be honest with you, and I'm totally cool with that
Yep.
because I think that if they're giving them the stamp of approval, they want to move forward with this like unknown direction. Let's do it. Let's start anew. Give me new people, new characters to care about.
Dude, say what you want about Marvel over the past 5 years. Like, they haven't really had too many casting misses that I can think
That's
of at all.
that's a fact. That's a
So,
fact.
kind of buried the lead here with the casting announcements because there is one other, aside from Adam Driver, pretty massive name that was attached to the X-Men movie. Indy Navarrete, Nikki from Obsession, Sarah from Superman and Lois, was announced to be playing Rogue in the X-Men movie. This was, I think this probably got the biggest pop of the Marvel panel based off the
I
videos
would
I
say
saw.
so. Yeah.
And this is just this is exciting because she was as we've talked about multiple times, she was incredible in Obsession. She has just kind of like, she has the Gen Z hype and obsession behind her right now.
For
And
sure.
it is cool to see the balance of, yes, we have these actors who we've cast for these roles, not based off their name at all, but because we think they are right for the role. But we also can say, hey, like, star of the biggest movie of the year, you want to come play one of the biggest characters in comics canon for the next 10 years with us? Let's do that too. And so I think that this casting announcement altogether just like really kind of combined a lot of those different factors to be excited about.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And Rogue is a character that we have been pining for as a fandom to have on screen. Especially like you said, given like the recent X-Men 97 stuff, and Rogue is very central to the story in X-Men 97. To have such a young hot actress portraying that character, I think is awesome. I admittedly don't have any experience with Indy Navarrete. I have not seen Obsession, and as you know, as we talked about last episode, I have not watched Superman and Lois. But I am
missing out.
Listen, I'm familiar with her game, and I believe the hype, and I am excited just based off her hype to have her in this role.
Yeah, I think that's well said, and just it's cool. It's a very young cast. I think that was one like point of contention that I saw was like the Kaylee Spaney Rogue fan casting was running rampant, and I think people were kind of miffed about that it didn't happen. One, like, don't get invested in these things. You have no control over it. Whatever happens is going to happen. Two, the age of it. Kaylee Spaney, I think, is like 28 or 29. All these people are like early 20s. So I think like that seeing that be a driving force of the casting here is like just lending to what I think is going to be the authenticity of like this coming of age story that they're going to be telling. That's X-Men, man. That's what I got for you. Anything else? Anything else you want to say on the on our mutant friends?
No, man, no. We're going to get plenty of news to come.
Indeed. Yeah. Last thing I'll say, Kevin Feige very explicitly said this, like, we are still casting. There are going to be
there are going to
multiple
be
more X-Men. I think we got to get a Beast. We got to get, I would like to see an Angel in here. I would like to see an Iceman. Because right now, our boy Scott Summers is outnumbered in a way that I don't think he's going to be upset about, but he might need some reinforcements in the X-Men.
And Iceman would be a good one. Iceman would for sure be a good one. Yeah, no, and I think too, like you asked, would I be disappointed if we don't get a Magneto? No, but like also, I think if we get a Magneto, yeah, give me Magneto. But I could see that being a name that we get as well.
Yeah. All right, dude, it's time. Let's talk Lanterns.
Spoiler warning for Lanterns right here. If you have not seen the first episode, we will be talking about that episode, spoiling that episode, probably also spoiling a little bit of Superman and just, I don't know, general Green Lantern comic lore. But that's it. We're going to get into this episode, break it down, get into the weeds a bit here. Before we can do that, we got to talk about what happened in the episode. And Jordan will be giving us that through our Batcave recap. Jordan, hit us with it.
All right. This one took a couple of rewrites because there is a lot going on in this episode of TV. But this is the final version of the Batcave recap for Lanterns episode 1, aptly called Pilot. Written by Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof, and Tom King, and directed by James Hawes, starring Kyle Chandler, Aaron Pierre, Kelly MacDonald, and Garrett Dillahunt. Lanterns introduces us to Hal Jordan, Earth's first and only Green Lantern, and his assigned Lantern trainee, John Stewart, who grew up watching Hal on TV and is now a grown man out of the army and training for the big leagues. The pilot episode tracks several storylines occurring 10 years apart. In 2016, 2 months into the Hal and John reluctant buddy cop journey, the Power Ring takes them to the site of Hal's Green Lantern origin. It just so happens that a mass shooting also just happened there, and Hal is convinced that the crime involves undercover shape-shifting aliens. Along the way, Hal and John tangle with the small Arkansas town's sheriff, Kelly, whose husband is the town defense attorney, and whose father-in-law runs a small militia down the road. That father-in-law, Will Macon, strikes an uneasy alliance with Hal against the general foreign invader from space enemy, although it's clear to Hal that there are some juicy secrets behind the NDA that Macon's lawyer has him bound by. The alliance holds also despite Macon learning that John slept with his wife the night prior. Hal's hunch about the suspect in the shooting proves to be true after he gets a chance to question him, getting him to reveal his secret alien identity through some pointed pop culture trivia before exploding himself and forcing Hal to use his Green Lantern constructs and be a hero. We then jump 10 years into the future, into 2026 in our current timeline, where we find a goateed John Stewart driving through the snow-swept roads of Rushville, Arkansas. We see that the town is in ruins and that the Macon family ranch is no more. John meets up with Sheriff Kelly, who takes him back to the site of the mass shooting that brought him and Hal there 10 years prior to show him the frozen, ringless corpse of Hal Jordan. That is how episode 1, Pilot, comes to a close.
It is indeed, as you mentioned, a lot happened in this episode. Where do you want to start here? Let's
funnel it. So let's start broad and then work into the nitty gritty a little bit. Because I think just first I want to acknowledge, one, I really like this first episode of the show.
I thought it was a great start.
I really like how immediately comfortable and confident the show feels in itself, if that makes sense. Very true to its true detective roots. Just kind of throwing us into the middle of this story involving variable timelines. We got a murder mystery going on. We got the crime procedural aspect of it. And there's also the timey-wimey stuff going on. And the show doesn't feel the need to be a Green Lantern spectacle or to include a big action set piece early in the episode to hook viewers. It feels like a show that's confident in itself, and I really like that.
That's totally fair. I think you're right. We immediately just get put into this world, and get introduced to our characters and kind of right off the bat understand who they are. Hal Jordan has been this Green Lantern on Earth. He was hidden for a while. He had an event that kind of showed the world who he was years prior to where we kick off this series in 2016. But he's been living as a Green Lantern for a while as, Earth's protector. And we see an interview with him where he, as the younger version of Hal, donning, his lantern suit, which I thought was awesome. And then we get a little backstory as well with John, which, dude, I mean, John's dad has some questionable parenting methods. My goodness.
So yeah, this is how the show opens too, right? We see John and his brothers. They're watching Hal's interview, and John's brother's turn the TV off. Dad's almost home. John does not want to turn it off. He wants to see the interview. Dad gets home, drags him outside, puts an apple on his head, and shoots the apple off his head. And you see that this is something that happens very often in that house.
Yeah.
But then what's even weirder and more interesting is that the scene ends on a tender note between John and his dad. This is how John,
a warming embrace.
Yeah, is receiving love from his dad. And the question is, are you afraid?
Are you afraid?
Which is we're gonna get into the implications of has John been being set up for this
groomed?
Since childhood by his dad? Some really interesting intrigue just in that very first cold open there.
Well, I mean, shoot, dude. I mean, let's just go for it because, we pretty immediately get into after that this world that we live in now in 2016 is where the show picks up, and which, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is 9 years prior to the events of Superman, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we get put into this world where John Stewart is training underneath Hal Jordan, very reluctantly training under not John, but Hal, very reluctant to be training
John has been assigned to be Hal's trainee by the
the
Guardians.
Guardian, seemingly through like an interview process, as they
Yeah. That
describe it multiple
part
times.
of the bickering that they get into is the interview process or lack thereof for Hal.
But it's interesting because, as you mentioned, it's like it almost leads us to believe like was John's father like aware of like the possibility of there needing to be a successor, and like has he been training him to take this? Because like the way that John is communicating with his father as an adult is like over the phone, he's like, John, like, do you want this job? Like, this job is yours. The way that they refer to this as like a job, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like you are training for this job. Do the thing. Tuck your tail, put your head down, and train, and the job is yours. It feels very intentional on behalf of John's father.
Yeah. And that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there is any basis for that in the comics.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. So,
and I mean, I'm pretty hip to Green Lantern.
That's what I was going to say. Like you're kind of the go-to for me and anybody I know on the Green Lantern's lore. So the John's origin is going to be very interesting to unpack here. Let's see. So I also let's also just like take a second to acknowledge that like this show is being carried by like just the buddy cop dynamic between Hal and John, and it is so much fun to watch on screen. Just like they're bickering back and forth. Hal is the washed up hero who still thinks that he has it and is never going to lose it, and John is constantly at his heels. And like the bickering back and forth between Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre, very well done.
Oh, dude, it's like the scene that we get in the car of just like him always like responding to Hal, John responding to Hal, just like, no, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And Hal's just like, how come every time you say sir, it sounds more and more like F you? And he just hits him back with a, I don't know, sir. Like, dude, that stuff is great. I loved it. I loved the play between those two.
And it's also, I like that Hal is a celebrity, and that like he is having all these people coming up to him asking for pictures and stuff, and just like an interesting dynamic to have there, even in like the middle of seemingly like rural nowhere where they are at the beginning of the episode.
We get pretty immediately like the sense, yeah, okay, like Hal does not like this position that he's been put into. He does not want a trainee. He does not want to accept the fact that they have assigned him a successor, because that means that he will have to eventually not be in this role. And to him, the only way that he's out of this role is by dying. He tells John that like there's no way that you're taking this from me, basically. And so he's very reluctant to give him the training that he needs. We catch them 2 months into their training, and John hasn't even put the ring on yet. And then so I don't really have many nits to pick, but if I will point out a couple things that I did think about after watching the episode, I was like, okay, so we go from, basically John getting zero training whatsoever within the first 2 months to, in this episode, okay, you want the ring, put the ring on. And then like from then on, like it kind of ramps up pretty significantly from there. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what is the catalyst in Hal's mind that makes him be like, okay, like, well, here's the ring. I'm going to drive the car off the cliff and see what happens. What has given it? Because this can't be the first time John has asked for the ring. You know what I mean? So what's going on now internally with Hal that's like, well, maybe now's the time. I don't know.
That's a good question. Well, and that I think like especially as it like pertains to that initial decision when they're in the car, because it then leads to a situation where like Hal seemingly by necessity is involving John more once they get to, I think it's Rushville, right? Rushville, Arkansas.
Rushville, Nebraska. Arkansas. Was it Nebraska?
Nebraska.
No, it was Nebraska. Yeah.
Midwest. Because at that point, like, obviously the case is unraveling. But what gets them to this small town, I think, is really interesting, too, because we get the scene where John uses the ring to protect himself as the car goes over the cliff. John has to walk 3 miles up the road to go meet Hal, who is drinking beer and eating tacos. During this
Dude,
walk,
you know that Taco Shack has some dank tacos.
yeah, yeah, that I would like to try some. During that walk, we get the moment where Hal's backup consciousness comes out of the ring and delivers this message to John. And I
Yeah,
thought this was like the way this show is like choosing to dole out like exposition and information is really interesting, because this is like a pretty convoluted way to do it, to get
it
them
is.
to this small town, to have
It is.
to have it tied up in the other lore that's revealed in this scene where we get, I think this backup version is from, was it from 1996 or was it 2006? I
He
think,
said 10 years
okay,
was the
so
last backup, so
so
2006.
2006. So 10
Yeah,
years after he had his CNN interview that John saw as a kid, and 10 years
yeah,
prior to where we're at now, we find out that one, the lanterns are all supposed to back their rings up with their consciousness like weekly.
weekly.
And two, Hal has not done that for 10 years. Third element is like what prompts the consciousness to come out now and make this declaration, because the consciousness tells John to tell Hal that there is hail in Rushville,
Yeah.
warning him about this crime that happened and the involvement of aliens. What is
And
prompting it? Yeah.
this site, at this site that is like kind of integral to Hal's identity as Green Lantern.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Like what has prompted this now to, and I mean, seems like maybe it's just like as simple as, okay, like Hal has like had this location on his radar for ever since he got the ring, because that was his first encounter with aliens. And so maybe it just seems like for his career as Green Lantern, he's always just had like his suspicion of this area, perhaps.
But it's so,
And
yeah, yeah. And I guess it could be like, because it seems like he gets the notification, comes out of the ring, Hal comes out of the ring, like almost simultaneously with the shooting that happens in Rushville.
yeah,
So
you're right. Yeah.
knowing like the people involved in making the show, the kind of like the coils that they wrap the mystery around, I think there is a lot going on with, there's obviously a lot going on with Hal's origin being tied to this town, and something that happened 10 years ago that we haven't seen any kind of hint of aside from this backup consciousness. And spoiler alert, 10 years down the line, when Hal seemingly turns up, his corpse seemingly turns up back in this town without his power ring. So what is this like seemingly like black hole strength gravitational force that keeps pulling Hal and the ring back to this town?
Right. And it's tied to the reveal that, one of the people involved with the incident there is an alien. And we get a great scene with Hal interrogating that alien. Hal has this suspicion that this character is an alien, goes through a lot of interesting methods to finally get to interrogate him. And when he finally does, man, dude, I will say one thing that made me laugh out loud was the interrogation scene where he was like, he was picking up on the facts that like this alien has studied the broad strokes. He's like, okay, you're playing the character of a Midwestern, blue collar guy, football, and that's about it.
Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah, dude, that was hilarious. Okay, that second time I laughed out loud. But what got me was when he finally asked him about Harry Potter. He was like, yeah, where does Harry Potter go to school? And it was just so on the nose. Like, it felt like they were like, hey, Harry Potter, new series coming next year. If you forgot, like HBO Max property as well, Harry Potter, where does he go to school? That one made me laugh.
That's pretty good. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I just love that scene for like getting like the Hal, the interrogator type vibe there, where he's like poking at the alien and he knows kind of how to get to him. But like you said, like asking these kind of pointed pop culture questions, getting this alien to show that he's not racist, even though he's from the Midwest, and that tips you off that you're an alien.
That was so funny, dude.
That was great. But then also, I really liked the actor who played this character in the scene, who I think his name is, Chris Coy, when he kind of made that subtle turn where he starts talking hypothetically about
hypotheticals,
if I were an alien, wouldn't I go to drastic measures to protect the sanctity of my mission? And he, like, that turn, I think that in that scene was played very well. And that obviously leads to the, the self-implosion with how containing the blast with the power ring, which is like the first time that he's using the ring for a heroic purpose. The other times we've seen it have either been to counterfeit money or conjure up a bottle opener for a bottle of beer.
Hey, dude, opening up a ice cold Coors Light, that's a hero move. If you
got me there. You got me there.
But yeah, man, I'm with you. We're kind of getting like this glimpse of how, as you said, like we're getting like washed up hero vibes from him, and it really feels like he's trying to hold on to something and prove himself to himself in a lot of ways in this show. And a big theme in this episode is, we've already talked about it, but like, are you afraid? And Hal's always like, no. Every time we've ever heard him talk about it, no, I'm not afraid. I've never been afraid. And I think that's pretty clearly wrong. He is afraid. He's afraid of being irrelevant, and he's afraid of losing this power. He's afraid of not having the ring and not having the title anymore.
And a character calls him out later in the episode, not to his face, but talking to John, that he's not fearless. He's just alone. He doesn't have anything to be afraid of losing, which I think is also a good read on him.
No, yeah, very poignant. And it's also cool because we get a little glimpse of like the lantern lore in Hal, of like how Hal was almost like an accident. Hal basically said that like humans aren't supposed to be lanterns because in the eyes of the Guardians, like Earth is like this little backwater planet, and his predecessor Abin Sur, like he crash landed on Earth, and
the ring sought him out.
Saw Hal, and that was like the first lantern that was a human. And so it's interesting to me that we're getting this perspective of, okay, well, it's almost like having a human as a lantern was a fluke, but then the Guardians seemingly chose John as his successor. So why are we now getting we'll probably find this out in later episodes, but why are we now getting the shift to where, okay, well, maybe we do need a human guardian on Earth? What is happening on Earth to where the Guardians are finding it appropriate to have more of a presence in not only the sector of the galaxy, but this specific planet on the galaxy? Is it, whatever's going on here in Rushville, Nebraska? I was trying to time it up with too, like maybe it could be with the fact that now we have a Kryptonian on Earth, but the events of that don't happen until 2025, which
and
is
Superman
prior to this.
And Superman doesn't reveal himself to the public. Was it 3 years prior to the event?
2022.
So still 6 years there. And then the other question is like the placement of Guy Gardner along the timeline, which we do know Guy is going to be appearing in the show, presumably in the 2026 current timeline.
And I do think that that begs further discussion when we wrap up with the end scene of this episode.
Oh yeah. So let's save it for then. But I think that's better suited then, because I like the other aspect of the show is just like this small town and the characters populating it. And there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here, because we got this it's almost like it's like this one family town almost, because we're first introduced to Sheriff Kelly, who is running the crime scene. We then later learn that her husband is like the town defense attorney, like not the public defender, but like a private defense attorney who takes Hal's case on because Sheriff Kelly prevents Hal from questioning the suspect at first. So Hal gets himself thrown in prison, as one does. Sheriff Kelly's husband defends him, bails him out with money from his attorney's dad, so Sheriff Kelly's father-in-law, who is running this ranch in the town on behalf of an undisclosed employer, and also is raising up this militia in the town.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, a lot of crazy stuff going on in this town, and this one family has their hands in seemingly all of it.
Well, and it's an interesting dynamic with that family too, because I mean, dude, like Sheriff Kelly, like, yeah, she's married to the defense attorney Billy Macon, but like, it almost feels like she's a hostage.
Well, I was
Like
gonna say that's
she,
because there's that one moment where Sheriff Kelly says to Hal, I think, like talking about Will Macon, the patriarch, like this is not a man you want to be indebted to, and Hal is like that. You sound like somebody who owes him a debt. So
yes, yes,
what is going on there?
and so yeah, like they're operating off of this ranch that's owned by, like you said, a undisclosed figure, seemingly works for the government. I personally don't have any theories on who that could be. I don't know if you do.
I don't either. Yeah. I think what's so cool about this show is like all these mysteries. I'm so comfortable, like so confident that they're going to be revealed in due time that I don't even need to worry about questions like that specifically.
One other nit I got here to pick is, dude, all of the people in this family, all of the actors, they're too close in age. They all of these people look
Okay.
way too similar in age,
That
including
I think,
like Kyle Chandler and Aaron Paul. Like all of them are way too similar.
really
in age.
hot cast.
Like, yeah, 100%. Like I was like, I'm supposed to believe that he is his father,
Yeah.
and like
Garrett
that is
Dillahunt
the wife.
he's like in his 60s. So a guy playing Will Macon is like in his 60s, and I think the sheriff and her husband are like, you could say they're like mid 40s, maybe.
I can
So
buy
like
it.
you could say like, okay, he had little Billy when he was really young, but I agree. When we saw Will Macon pop on, I was like, that's it's a strapping young lad.
Exactly. Exactly. It just, and again, like with the wife, like when she was sleeping with John, I like, dude, I thought that they were like of very similar age, and
Yeah.
then come to find out that she's supposed to be like a generation above him. I was like,
Dude, which
you got to have a little separation here.
John, you need to have a little separation. I was like, I thought that was really interesting that like up until that point in the episode, John has been like this buttoned up, seemingly like very by the book kind of person. To see him then be willing to like go hook up with a random stranger in the back alley of the bar, like 10 minutes after meeting her, and like on the job too. Like he was drinking a Coke because he was on the job. I thought that was really interesting to see him go like take that indulgence.
And then also use the ring to light her cigarette. I thought it was a nice touch.
That was a very nice touch for somebody who just used it for the first time earlier that day to save himself from dying.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, he was pretty confident.
I'm with it. Yeah. But then also like to have like Hal Jordan's like moment of just like, dude, I'm proud of you.
That was so.
Like,
that was one of my like the biggest laughs for me in that scene when he's like playing it off like he's frustrated that he jeopardized the mission. He's like, within 24 hours, I'm impressed.
It's like, all right, that's the Hal I know. You know, that's the Hal Jordan I know.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
What else do we got going on there? I think like so, and we get with Will Macon. So like Will bails Hal out because he wants Hal's help with just combating this like general faceless, nameless enemy, the foreign invader from abroad. And like,
right.
I think the show, like as we had with Watchmen, another Damon Lindelof show, as we've had with shows like True Detective, I think we are like the social commentary that's already even been baked into this first episode. I think mostly through some of like just like the sideways looks that John gets as a black man, and some of the comments that his dad makes to him about like they can react like that, but you can't. Like, so we're getting like the racial commentary, and then here we're getting like the commentary on like immigration and things like that from the Macon Ranch, which is just like another interesting thread. The questions about his employer are really interesting. The NDA and like what that is in place to protect, also very interesting. This militia that's being raised up on this land, like they are there to protect something, it seems like to me, something that's very valuable to their employer. And I mean, like, could it have been Abin Sur's spaceship? Maybe, but like, that doesn't seem like something Hal would just let go unattended after getting the ring. So I don't know. I just like,
I mean, maybe,
what
but he
other
was young,
alien tie?
immature.
What
Like,
was it? Maybe it was whatever drew Abin Sur's ring to Earth and to Hal.
maybe, yeah. And they do have like a look in the look forward section after the episode of like talking about how like there's a scene where they're finding weapons on the Macon Ranch, and it's like basically like these weapons are like too advanced to like
Ooh,
be,
alien tech.
and so maybe it's alien, maybe it's from the ship, as you mentioned, maybe this is like almost like a race war, and the Macons are manhunters. We know manhunters are
Ooh,
involved,
yeah.
and maybe it's like the manhunters are trying to employ a Green Lantern to like basically be like their private, bodyguard in a way against an alien threat that's coming to Earth to try to rid of the Manhunters. I could see that being something that's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but you've mentioned it, like I'm really comfortable not knowing because I think a big draw of this show is the mystery aspect to it.
Yeah. And the biggest mystery, I think, like walking out of the episode, is what we get with the reveal in the 2026 timeline that Hal seemingly has been murdered and that his ring is missing and that John doesn't have it either. So
Right.
a lot of questions come up from this scene, obviously. Who killed Hal? Is that actually Hal there? Obviously, in a
Right.
season dealing with like shape shifting aliens, that's always a possibility. But it seems like it's being played like this is actually Hal. What has happened between 2016 and 2026? Obviously, we will learn a lot of that. But the state of the town at that point is really interesting. It seems like it's like abandoned, like in shambles, like the ranch is like no more, it seems like.
Seems
Then
like it's off
also
the face of the earth.
but then
Yeah.
also Sheriff Kelly is like still there in her sheriff uniform. So like there's still enough of a
I mean, it
town,
was in a Nebraska winter, so it was giving off like
kind of
the
apocalyptic
post-apocalyptic
vibes just for
vibes.
that. Yeah.
But I think it was just a snowstorm.
It could have just been that.
But I'm with you. It's like what happened in this town to make it, make the Macon Ranch not there anymore, and then what has happened with our lanterns. Because here's what we know. Here is what we know. We know right now we find ourselves in 2016 with Hal Jordan as the only Green Lantern on Earth, training John Stewart to be his successor. What we also know is that in 2025 we see Guy Gardner as Earth's Green Lantern, seemingly operating as Earth's Green Lantern for at least years
Yeah.
prior.
Yeah.
This, that was not his first go around as Green Lantern. So Guy Gardner has been the Green Lantern prior to the events of that movie. In 2026, as you mentioned, we see both Hal Jordan and John Stewart, neither of which have on the Ring of Power.
John's getting his fit off though.
He is, dude. He looked great. He
Yeah.
was probably a little chilly. I'll be honest. I don't know if a turtleneck and a peak coat is gonna do it.
The
but,
goatee
dude,
was
he looked
keeping him
good.
warm.
It was. It was. Dude, the classic goatee too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. The
that's
animated
the look.
look was sick.
That's the look.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so are we to believe that the events of this show are going to leave us in a spot where Hal Jordan is no longer, he's dead. Guy Gardner is Earth's Green Lantern. And what does that mean for John Stewart? I would be shocked if this show did not leave us with John Stewart as our Green Lantern.
That man is getting the ring by the end of the show. But they're setting it up to create seemingly like every obstacle that they possibly can for him to get there, from a point though where he was like preordained to get it, which I think is really like an interesting kind of tension.
You're right. There's a common theme of, as we mentioned, like John being selected by the Guardian, which would make him kind of like the first human selected by the Guardian. This idea, as we already talked about, of like his father training him in a way for this role. And John, like, he is, I would not describe him as arrogant or cocky, but he definitely feels like he is right for this role. I think I get that from it. He feels like he can.
He's
be
indignant, like he feels like Hal is disrespecting him by not giving him more agency, like in their dynamic. And it seems like he's not afraid to call Hal out and call
Most
call
certainly, yeah.
Hal out. That's kind of a tongue twister. Call Hal
Call
out
Hal out.
and tell him that he's better than him, which I appreciate.
Moving forward in this season, I think, how much time do you think we're going to spend in 2016 versus 2026?
That's a good question because, like, obviously, before we get that 2026 stinger, it seemed like it was going to be like mostly 2006 and 2016. I don't know, dude. Like, have you seen any seasons of True Detective?
No.
So they like they all oftentimes will like have like the different timeline elements. I actually it might be every season, and usually from the seasons that I've seen, like by the end, it ultimately kind of comes out to be like pretty even distribution of the different timelines. So I could
Hmm.
see kind of being front loaded pretty heavy on like the 2016 2026 stuff, which then leads to the reveal of what happened earlier in like 2006, even like going back before that maybe. So that's kind of what I'm seeing is like we'll be early on in like the more contemporary times and then go back for answers.
Benny just nudged my elbow. Just
It's like it's
be like,
time.
hey, no, I think we'll spend most of our time in 2016, and I don't really know if we'll actually spend too much time in 2026 in like the bulk of the season, kind of like until the maybe like the last few episodes to see like where this resolves. Where obviously they know we need answers to who is the Green Lantern in our current day and age. Like they are aware that they have to do that. Mm. Do you think that this is something actually I got a little bit of conversation going today in the Friends from Work Discord in the Lantern spoiler section. Do you think that this is the one and only time, not episode, but one and only time that we will be seeing Hal Jordan as the Green Lantern in the DCU in this season of TV?
Probably in live
I think so
action, like
too.
in like DCU proper canon, I would say yes.
I think so too. And listen, I love Hal Jordan. Don't get me wrong. I love this portrayal that we're getting so far from Kyle Chandler. But to me, Jon Stewart has always been my Green Lantern. I grew up with Justice League animated series, Justice League Unlimited. I have always associated the Green Lantern mantle with Jon Stewart, and I know that Hal's lore is deeper, but I think that this is supposed to be an origin story for John. So I do believe that is where we're going to end
Yeah.
this season, and I'm quite interested to see where Guy Gardner fits into all that. To be honest with you, it's going to be interesting to see how they do that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of questions there for sure, but I agree. Like Jon Stewart, thematically for like this DC universe that they're building out, feels like the right Green Lantern to have fill out what will hopefully like make up the Justice League with David Cornsweet Superman involved, and see who else populates it. But feels like
Yeah,
he is kind of the presence that this universe needs on like
more of
representing the
like a
Green Lanterns
straight
there.
laced militant type of character.
A little bit, but like still like has that streak for he's gonna do what he wants at the same time. Like he's gonna go hook up
Mm-hmm.
with the hot stranger that he met at the bar. He's
Mm-hmm.
gonna like talk he's gonna talk his crap and have no issue with it. So that I think could be fun. Whereas like I mean I don't know, I think that also like Aaron Pierre is awesome too.
Anything else major you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
I think we kind of hit on all of it, dude. Like, there's a lot that is going on in this episode. There are obviously a lot of questions that we have. I love being in a place like this after like the pilot episode of a superhero show where it's just kind of a given that the show itself was really good. And the bulk of the conversation is just talking about like what happened and what does it mean and what's coming next. So I think this is going to be a fun show to talk about for the next couple months.
Give me, before we close it, give me one. I'm gonna plant my flag. Give me one prediction for this season. One prediction that you have for what we're gonna get out of this season of TV. I'm gonna plant my flag in that the Macons are. I like this race war idea, and that the Macons are manhunters or somehow tied to the manhunters.
I think that's a really good flag to plant. I guess I'll plant my flag on the fact that Hal Jordan is dead, but he's coming back. And he's coming back as Parallax.
Oh.
I don't know who Parallax is beyond the fact that it is a villain that Hal Jordan turns into. I don't need to know more than that. That's what's happening.
Dude, I love the fact that we're sitting here at, let's see, I don't even know. Oh, wait, I have a watch on. I can check. At 10 o'clock on a Monday talking about freaking Green Lantern.
Parallax.
I love that. I love that so much.
It's a good place to be, and like in the context of a really good HBO prestige show.
And I think that'll do it. What do you think?
I think that's a good note to go out on. I mean, I like this schedule, getting in to talk about the episode fresh after seeing it, and I feel like next week is going to have a lot to get into.
I do too. I think if we can time it up right, we should be able to do Monday recordings with Tuesday episodes.
Hey, you guys out there, this man over here he's putting in the work for you guys. This man is crossing state lines and editing episodes at the same time.
I am. I did indeed do that. My MacBook is screaming at me. My mobile hotspot is just working its ass off. But hey, we're having a good time doing it.
That we are. Hope you guys are too. If you're still with us, thank you very much for being with us on this premiere episode of Lanterns Review on Between Two Batcaves. Would love to know what you guys thought of this first episode of TV. Are you enjoying the mystery of it all? Do you feel a bit lost in the weeds? There's a lot of comic stuff going on here. Would love to get into it with all of you guys on the socials. We are on all of them. Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, at Between Two Batcaves with the number 2. We are also on the app formerly known as Twitter at B2Batcaves with the number 2. Hit us up. Would love to chat with you guys.
And quick reminder before you close out of the podcast app of your choice to leave a 5-star rating and review. If you are watching Between Two Batcaves, go ahead and like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. Come on back next week to Between Two Batcaves, where we will be reviewing episode 2 of Lanterns, and keep on coming back because we're going to be here in this space for about 2 months. It's Lanterns mode over here in Between Two Batcaves.
Good place to be.
So, good place to be. So, that's all we got. Until then, from our Batcaves to yours, thanks for hanging with us, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
We got to train our dogs to bark at the end of the episodes.